On stage, we've got Mohan Sridhar, and he's going to do a workshop on Indian classical music. As I said, we've got about a half hour, 40 minutes planned of Indian classical side. And just on Mohan, has actually commenced his initial training in vocal Carnatic music in Melbourne at the age of 10 under Srimati Lata Ganpati Ravikiran, and wife of Sri N. Ravikiran, the world-renowned Chitraveena exponent. After 1996, he began learning the Veena from the Veena duo, the Iyer brothers, performing his Arangetram, which Arangetram means it's the debut performance, and that was in 2004. In 2009, Mohan had moved to Bangalore in India, and he had the privilege of learning from Sri N. Tyagarajan of the Rudrapatnam brothers. He also has had the opportunity of learning from stalwarts such as the Veena maestro, late Sri Venkatraman, and Sangeeta Kalanidhi Sri Neduneri Krishnamurti. He has given vocal concerts all over Australia, in Singapore, and in India during the December Music Festival. And Mohan currently works at the James Cook University, and he's been a part of the Townsville Indian Cultural Program for the last 2 years. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mohan Sridhar onto stage. Thank you. We've just got, we'll just play a video before Mohan comes on stage.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Hope you guys are enjoying the Indian Fest. It is a very nice workshop on Bharatanatyam, a South Indian classical dance form. What I'm going to speak to you about today is about Indian classical music, the different forms of Indian classical music, and how it's similar or different to Western classical music. So next slide please. So Indian classical music encompasses, two distinct but related traditions. Yep, next please. There's a North Indian tradition called Hindustani, which is predominantly, practiced in the north. It is sung in the south, but not as prevalent in the South. And then there's a South Indian tradition called Carnatic music. Both are based on what are known as scales or ragas, which are particular sequences of notes, ascending notes and descending notes. The key aspect of Indian classical music is that it's fluid in its structure, and there's a lot of scope within the compositions for creativity and improvisation. And this, this what differentiates it from Western classical music, where we have a Beethoven symphony, for instance, and an orchestra will play it as it is on the paper. Indian classical music consists of 7 notes, which are equivalent to the notes in Western classical. So, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. So very similar. In Indian classical music, we have sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa, ni, da, pa, ma, ga, ri, sa. So you can see the similarities with that particular scale of notes, but a complexity is added into Indian classical music where we have different frequencies at which those notes can be sung. So we have more different scales that can be used to sing particular compositions in. So as I said, both forms are based on a raga framework, notes ascending and descending. An example I've provided here is a raga called Shankarabharanam. Sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa, ni, da, pa, ma, ga, ri, sa. It's a parent ragam. That means it's got 7 notes, all the 7 notes in ascending and descending in order. And from these parent ragams, there are 72 of them, you get child ragas or janya ragas. You can see in the second example, Mohanam, there are a few notes missing, going up and coming down. It's just sa, ri, ga, pa, da, sa, da, pa, ga, ri, sa. You can see a different flavor that comes out in that particular raga because of the notes that are missing. Next, please. So Western classical. When you listen to an orchestra play, you can hear different sections of the orchestra playing different melodies. Now that's the key of Western classical music. It's polyphonic. There are multiple melodies going on. You'll have the brass section playing a particular melody. You'll have the woodwind section playing a different melody as part of the composition. These all blend together to create a harmony. And that's the key of Western classical music. Next slide, please. Next, please. So as I said, the harmony is the key aspect. In Indian classical music, there's one particular melody, but it's monophonic, and everyone will sing that particular melody. So just a brief, quick comparison. So you have harmony, which is the key of Western classical music, whereas Indian classical music is based on a single melody, based on the scale of that particular raga or framework. The complexity of Indian classical music is in its creativity and improvisation, where one composition sung by one person may be completely different in the expression and how someone else sings it, whereas in Western classical, Beethoven Symphony No. 5 will be played as Beethoven Symphony No. 5 by another orchestra, and it will sound very similar. So there are notes in both Western and Indian classical music, but there are different frequencies in the particular notes that give a whole range of different scales that can be sung and compositions. There are beat cycles. In Western classical music, you have a 4-beat cycle, which is in Indian classical music, different compositions have different beat cycles called talas. It can be 5 beats, 6 beats, 7 beats, etc. It just depends on the composition and what fits for that particular composition. I'll ask for the Western music clip, the first clip to be played. can hear in that clip the different sections of the orchestra that are playing different melodies to give that whole piece its complexity. That's the key in Western classical compositions. Now, if we listen to the Indian musical clip. So in that piece, you can hear the violin. It's an instrument that Indian classical music has adopted from the Western culture. You can hear that there's a single melody being played, and the performer was using a lot of creativity and improvisation within that scale. That particular scale is called Kalyani, and you could see that the flavor of that particular sequence coming out in that performance. Next slide, please. So there are different types of compositions in Carnatic music concerts. Varnam is usually the first song that's sung. It doesn't have as much scope for complexity as more complex compositions, but it's usually the first that's done. Kritis are the really complex compositions, and these are the ones that allow for improvisation, creativity, depending on the performer. And when you hear a particular composition sung in one concert, that same composition is rendered very, very differently, depending on what that individual wants to express in that song. Tilana is towards the end of concerts, where fast, lively pieces lasting for 2 to 3 minutes that give you a lively, a song towards the end of the concert. And then finally, Mangalam is like a song that we sing to bring close to the concert that's just gone and seek the blessings of the gods for making it successful. Now, in Western classical, there are different types of compositions. A sonata is made up of 3 or 4 different passages or movements that may vary in their speed or the melodies that are played. Then you have a symphony, which is very common for orchestra, where you've got multiple sections of an orchestra playing different melodies. And then a concerto is similar to a symphony piece, but it just has a component of a solo, such as a cello solo, within that concert structure. A number of instruments are used in Indian classical music. We have a harmonium, which is a piano-like instrument that's played mainly in Hindustani, North Indian music. We have a tabla, which is a percussion instrument here, a set of 2 drums that are tapped on the top. That's mainly used in Hindustani classical music as well. And a sitar, made famous by the famous Ravi Shankar, which is also a Hindustani stringed instrument. On the right, you can see in the middle there's an instrument that looks similar to a sitar, but it's only got 4 strings. It's a tambura. It provides a tone in the background for the performer to perform in, which sets a particular scale. Violin, which is an accompanying instrument as well as a solo instrument in concerts, adopted from the Western culture that we use, that you heard in the earlier piece, where the performer is showing the creativity. Veena, which is a stringed instrument in the south, similar to the sitar, but with different tonal qualities. And a flute there, which is used both in Hindustani and Carnatic classical. So what I'll do now is just finish with an example of a Carnatic music piece. It's a piece that we usually sing to Lord Ganesha, or the elephant-headed god, to seek his blessings and remove obstacles that are in our way before either we commence a concert or embark on something in life. Now this composition is also set to a particular scale or raga. This raga is called Nate. Um, Sari ga ma pa ni sa ni pa ma ga ma re sa. Sari ga ma pa ni sa ni pa ma ga re sa. And it's set to a thalam, an 8-beat cycle. Mahaganapatim manasa smarami Mahaganapatim manasa smarami Mahaganapatim manasa smarami Mahaganapatim manasa smarami Mahaganapatim वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दितमहागणपतिम् महादेवस्तुतं महादेवस्तुतं गुरुगुहनुतं महादेवस्तुतं गुरुगुहनुतं महादेवस्तुतं गुरुगुहनुतं मारकोटिप्रकाशं शान्तं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियम् महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियम् महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषिकवागनमोदगप्रियं पप्पमगमरिसरिस पमगमपानिनि सनि पमगमनि पमगमरिस रिस सानि पमरिस सरिगममहागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिम्. So you can hear that was Ragam Nate. So thank you for your attention. I'll be in the tent to the left here to discuss, any queries that you guys may have about Indian classical music. Happy to explain. So thanks for your time. Enjoy your day.